Welcome back to another magazine flick through, and this time we're looking at Sega Megatech from November 1993. So this will be the second magazine for the same month, because last time we looked at Mean Machine Sega from that month. Now this magazine was published by EMAP, who is the publisher for Mean Machine Sega and CVG and the official Sega magazine, which came out 1994. Now this is a bit of an oddity here, because I think it's kind of strange that one magazine would be published, or rather one publisher would be publishing two very similar magazines, because these are both, this and Mean Machine Sega, they're both aimed at the same set of consoles really. I mean, this doesn't cover Master System and Game Gear, but it seems very strange that you think it would be cannibalising its own market, because I mean this did run quite a while. I think it started in 91, so this is on issue 23. But I just find it very bizarre that a publisher would be developing two magazines which are just so similar and aimed at the same market, and they're even written by most of the same people. So back in the day I used to read Mean Machines and not necessarily this. I wasn't aware of anyone that ever read it. But yeah, there you go. So maybe there are some differences in this in the writing style, but I certainly didn't read. Rather, I may have read it in the newsagent, but I don't ever recall buying an issue. So maybe some people prefer this over Mean Machines. So the games are sort of similar than what was covered in the Mean Machines issue, but I think there's more of an emphasis on Dragon. So I think the one difference here is because magazines wouldn't be published at the same time. There's probably a couple of weeks stagger going on. You'll find that some magazines have slightly different exclusives, and the reviews might come in slightly earlier in one magazine than the other. So we've got an advert for Flashback and Super Kickoff. Super Kickoff was a port of, I believe, the first Kickoff on the Amiga. I'm not sure if it was modified at all. And of course we've got Flashback, which is a fantastic game. Yeah, so I've mentioned we've got a preview of Dragon, which is a world exclusive, and we've got some reviews. I don't think June CD got reviewed in Mean Machines. I think that was just a preview. So we've got, what's this? Oh No More Lemmings. So this would be, this is talking about the sequel. It's not the add-on pack, because Oh No More Lemmings was an add-on disc to the Amiga and ST versions, but I'm not aware of those levels appearing on console. Maybe they were in the SNES version, I don't know. So Cool Spot returns, so this will be Cool Spot Goes to Hollywood. Yeah, this I don't think it ever came out on the Mega Drive. I remember it coming out on the Saturn, but I don't think this ended up being a 16-bit release. Maybe I'm wrong. So it's saying Dave Perry is currently wrapped up in the Jungle Book. Yeah, so more Disney games. I really like the Disney games on the Mega Drive. Actually, there's a good video by T-Rex Space Station. He was looking at the Disney games a few days back. It's worth checking out. Microprocessors Pre. This looks very similar to the little box in Mean Machines. So it's talking about the DSP. It's Jeff Crammon's Grand Prix, which never came out on the Mega Drive. It was an Amiga game, but certainly I've never heard of another game with extra hardware on the Mega Drive other than, I mean, if you don't count games like Sonic and Knuckles, it's more games like Virtual Racing. I don't think this ever came out. Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker on the Mega Drive. That's a really, really good game. It's a bit complex to get into, but it's a good game. And yeah, Archie McLean, who was at Replay. Was it Replay last year? I think it was Replay, or it was Revival. I forget which one it was now. Yeah, Cosmic Spacehead. Really should play that. Evolution. So this is talking about the sequel yeah, they're starting work on the sequel. I don't know if that ended up becoming Evolution Dino Dudes, which was on the Jaguar. Humans came out before, so don't know. I don't ever recall Humans 2 coming out on the Mega Drive. I don't think any of them ever came out in Europe. I think they were only Genesis games. So this is talking about the F1 Championship, which is a really good conversion of a game called, if I remember, was it Revs or was it Vroom on the Amiga? I forget the name of it now, but it was called F1 Championship on the Mega Drive. But there was a Kawasaki game that came out in '94, and that's really good. I would say it's even faster than the F1 game. So, not to be distracted too much, we've got World Tour Davis Cup. So this was quite a famous poster at the time that a lot of people had on office walls, and it featured in Gene Hunt made a comment about it in Ashes to Ashes. So yeah, it is what it is. So if you're looking here, which clearly you're not, this is a Star Trek The Next Generation game, which I don't ever recall playing. Now, yeah, so Julian Rignall, I think was the lead editor of this magazine, and I remember there being a few adverts for it in Mean Machine Sega, maybe even Mean Machines that far back. So yeah, interesting when you kind of look at the age of some people here. You've got, it's kind of odd that these magazines were really aimed at kids, and I always forget that, because Edge was aimed at a much older audience, but you know, I was 10, 11 years old at the time, and I would have been the target audience for these magazines, but I always forget that they were aimed at kids. But I think the quality of the writing is still pretty good. I don't know what games magazines for kids are like now. I don't know if they exist. Thunderhawk, yeah, we've looked at that quite a few times. Lethal Enforcers, yeah, this was a gun game. I always thought this was a little bit grainy on the Mega Drive and the Mega CD, because it had a lot of digitised backgrounds and sprites for the characters, and the colour depth on the Mega Drive wasn't great, which meant that digitised images looked grainy. And even the Mega CD version, I don't recall there being much of a difference really, perhaps other than the soundtrack. But this game came with its own light gun called the Justifier, which is kind of odd, because you'd think they would have supported the Menacer, but clearly not. Konami saw an opportunity to sell their own light gun. So we've got Dragon. So this is based on the Bruce Lee film, or the film about Bruce Lee's life and career, and it was a little different than Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat, in that you only played as Bruce Lee, and even if you played in two-player, it was Bruce Lee as well. So you've just got a slightly different palette swap, or different colours on his trousers. And the Jaguar one was the one that I remember playing the most. This is the one that I own, and it always felt a little rushed. The menus and the title screen and all that seemed a little, I won't say sloppy, but just not quite finished. I remember playing this on the SNES. A friend of mine had it, but I don't remember anything about it. I only remember the Jaguar version. But visually it was quite nice. It felt quite solid, but a little bit repetitive. And it's nice to see here, I don't know what package this is. Is it Deluxe Paint on the Amiga, or it'll be a Mac package? I don't think it's Photoshop. I don't think it was around at that point. I think it came out '94. But yeah, you can see how these have been drawn. The artwork's really nice. Sensible Soccer, again, another nice conversion. So this came out November '93, and published by Sony. Now, this was a little different than the Amiga version from what I recall. I haven't played the Amiga one for quite a while, but on the Amiga game the ball didn't stick to your feet, whereas on this it did. Jungle Book, which was mentioned before, is a Virgin published game. It's in-house, but I think this would have been Shiny Entertainment, Dave Perry. I really like the Disney games, and I think they came as a couple of waves, because you had the first wave, which was games like Castle of Illusion, World of Illusion, and Quackshot, which was Sega in-house developed. But then the Disney games tended to be multi-platform. So I remember for the SNES, you had the Capcom games, which the first one was only on the SNES, but when Virgin got the right, you got games like this, Mickey Mania, and I was thinking Jungle Book. This is Jungle Book. Lion King, rather. Yeah, not enough coffee. I haven't played this one, but it looks nice, and it looks similar to the other games. Cliffhanger. Don't know much about the Mega Drive game, but the Mega CD version is worth owning just for one level, and that's the one where you really, I won't say skiing down a mountain. Are you skiing or are you snowboarding? I think it's snowboarding down a mountain, and that was added into the Mega CD one, which visually is quite impressive, but the rest of the game isn't great. It's kind of like Batman Returns. It might even be done by the same developer, I don't know. But the Mega CD one was just this Mega Drive game with an extra level on it. It wasn't even multiple levels like Batman Returns. So yeah, not really worth playing. It's probably worth just checking a video out of it. Last Action Hero. Yeah, don't know much about this one. I don't ever recall seeing this in shops. I think I've seen it at least discussed more recently, so it must have come out, but I don't know much about it. Probably, if you want an Arnold Schwarzenegger game, you want True Lies, which came out, I think, a year later than this. Chuck Rock 2, yes, and a Chuck, another Amiga conversion, another really good game. Spycam update, so this must have been trade shows? Must have been. It's kind of implying that they're going around getting exclusives, but I don't think that's the case. It's just them probably using, I mean, like you can tell with these, a lot of old screenshots were done with a camera, and you can tell, particularly when you get trade shows, the editors would have just gone around with it with a camera and taken pictures. Probably an early digital camera. Yeah. So, sorry, I got a bit of a cold here. We got Son of Chuck core design. So this is Chuck Rock 2, but this is the Mega CD one. Yeah, so they're saying here the Mega CD one's got a few extra stages and a CD soundtrack, which was fairly common. Yeah, another Amiga conversion, which was Jim Power. Yeah, I really should go back and do some more gameplays of a lot of games, because I've got quite a good collection of Amiga conversions, a lot of platformers like Legend of Galahad, which was Leander, and a few others, games like Risky Woods, and they were pretty good Mega Drive conversions. Another one, Chaos Engine, that's from the Amiga. Hemidol, yeah, that was, I think most of these are Amiga conversions, funnily enough. I think even Marco's Magic Football was an Amiga game. It's not Soccer Kid, because that was a different game. But yeah, I think most of these are conversions. Hook. Yeah, that's okay. On the, I think it's a better Mega Drive game than it is a Mega CD. I mean, they're practically identical. It's just the expectations are a lot higher if you paid it all that money for a Mega CD. What's this? Axe 101. 3D. Oh, I might look at that. It looks like it's a 3D space game, but this is, looking at it, it looks CGI. So this is probably FMV rather than it being a game like Wing Commander. But maybe I should have a look at that. I don't know if that ever came out over here. You got Tale of Dream Mansion. That would be Yume Mystery Mansion. And it's talking here about the number of polygons, but at the end of the day, it's all pre-rendered, so it's not really the console pushing that. It's just you know, a 3D package that's rendering that, and it's playing the video, which is a little bit grainy. Yeah, that's a bit of an odd one to have on a Mega Drive. I don't know if that's really needed. That'd be really good on a PC though. Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Yeah, these will be your letters page. Yeah, probably a little bit too small to read. You can kind of see the Mean Machine style here of having very primitive style gradients and slightly garish art style. CVG at this time had a really bizarre art style, which you look back and you think, wow, this is awful on the eyes, but it's there's a little bit of nostalgia there. It's kind of charming in a way. So we're on to the reviews, and we're looking at Aladdin, which really was a visually a nice game. I don't recall who developed it. It might have been another Dave Perry rather, game. Yeah, was it Shiny at that point? I don't know, but it was certainly that same company. It was Virgin in-house. Yeah, I mean, visually this is so nice. The artworks, they've done a really nice job on it. I mean, I suppose you can see where Earthworm Jim came from this, but I don't know. I found it got a little bit samey as you went through it, but they gave it 90%. It's, yeah, back in the day it was a big deal. I think now it might have dated a little bit. So we've got F-15 Strike Eagle, which is another fully real-time 3D game from Microprose, which is kind of impressive on the hardware. So we got Sonic CD, a review of it. Yeah, they're saying, is it Sonic 3? No, it's not Sonic 2 and it's not Sonic 1. It's, yeah, they're talking here about this rumour of Supersonic, they call it Supersonic. It's a revamped version of Sonic 2. That never happened. There was never a CD version of Sonic 2. I don't know if that even got off the ground. The only Sonic game in the Mega CD was this one. Which is a really good game, and I'm going to guess this gets 90%, 83%. Wow, what didn't they like? It was the long term, so it's the same as Mean Machines. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if these reviews are quite similar to what Mean Machines gave. I think it depends on who reviewed it. Yeah, fantastic game. I'd agree with that. It's a very short game. But if you do it for all the bonuses and collect all the, it's like collecting the Chaos Emeralds in the original. If you play it for completion, there's quite a lot there. CDX, so you could play your Japanese Mega CD games on your Mega CD, but it only works on the first one. Because I've got one of those cartridges, and it works on the Mega CD 1, but on the Mega CD 2 it doesn't work. Adam's Family, yeah, another me conversion by Ocean. It's a bit like Mario, as I said in the other magazine flick through, but it's worth owning if you want a game like that. Bart's Nightmare, never played this one, 75%, so it's middle of the road. Sumo, haven't heard of this. It looks very Neo Geo-like in its artwork, so you've got 68%. Yeah, I don't know how much variation. I mean, look at the special moves. I think they've taken some liberties with sumo wrestling, but you've got to have some entertainment. John Madden, I don't know anything about these games. They keep making them, and clearly they sell. I don't know how well they sell in the UK, but I'm sure in the US they get they've probably got a really good following. Yeah, so. What's this? Some discounts. What's it for? Mail order. Oh, it's Yeah, I don't know if it's a physical. Oh no, there are. It's a shop. Has something been cut out here? Because I'm not seeing what shop it is. Or A to Z. Never heard of it. James Pond 3. Yeah, again, another game that it felt a bit more like Mario, which is probably good if you're a Mega Drive owner. And I remember at the time really wanting a Mario game, and a friend of mine had this, and I played it, and I thought, it doesn't quite get my interest, because there's little bits that are like Sonic, because you can run up the walls. I suppose it's like Zool. They tried to make a game that was going to be another Mario or another Sonic, or even Bubsy as well did the same thing, and it didn't quite feel as refined. Maybe I should give this another go. I mean, it got 85%, so it's not a bad game. I think it's just compared to Mario and Sonic, it doesn't really come close. But I think if you want more of the same or more similar, it's probably worth picking up. Fantastic Dizzy. Yeah, I really should go back and play this, because I was watching a video by Kimball Justice who did a playthrough of this, and I never really got more than like 15 minutes into the game. I used to really enjoy the ST versions, but this one I never really played it. And I think my problem was I went straight to the bottom of the map and went straight to the village, and then couldn't get anywhere. And it seems you've got to stay in the treehouse a bit longer and unlock it. And I think that's where I went wrong all those years ago. So I should go back. Dune CD. Yeah, this is what the CD should be used for. So it's a point and click adventure like Monkey Island, but it's got your CD audio and it uses video where it's appropriate. Interesting there, it says 8 meg. That seems a bit small. Maybe it was just there was 8 meg of game data if you don't count the video, which is probably about right, because I think this was a floppy disk game as well. So they didn't like it that much. It was sort of middle of the road. Interesting wallpaper for the Mega CD. It's a big game, but it's only good one go. I wonder if that just means once you've finished it you won't play it again, rather than you can't save. But yeah, because you can see here this has got FMV for the video sequences for when you fly, so it can't be 8 meg. I've got that wrong. But yeah, I enjoyed this on the PC when I played it in the early 90s. Spider-Man and the X-Men, 70%. Yeah, looks a bit dark. Doesn't look very good, and the artwork's just a bit murky. I don't know. Landstalker. This has got a really good reputation. This will get a high review. Isometric roleplay game, which is quite hard to get hold of now. It was meant to be a really difficult game to play as well, but it's not really my cup of tea. 93%. As you can see where the reputation comes in. Yeah, more politics, so same old. Asterix, 62%. Mega Drive. I haven't played this one. I quite like the Master System game. I think that's quite good. It's a Mario style game, but I don't know much about the Mega Drive one. But they didn't like it very much. INXS Make My Video. Yeah, I think this. I mean, it's a digital pictures game, so it's trying to use the CD where they can for new kinds of interactive multimedia entertainment. Wow. Yeah, a nice experiment. It's probably not the best game. 8 meg. I think they just put that by default. That is not 8 meg. That's going to be like 600. It's going to be a disc full of grainy FMV. Cosmic Spacehead. Yeah, another point and click style game which was advertised earlier. I think this was originally a NES game that got upgraded. So 68. And they said, wow. They said it was too easy. I remember playing this game and I just could not get into it. Could not get more than half an hour into it. So maybe I've done something fundamentally wrong. But at least you've got YouTube gameplays now. And these look like cheats. Yeah, Sylphid, great game. Mortal Kombat. So your special moves. Yeah, that was my favourite one, Sub-Zero. Yeah, and you got the blood codes and the Dullard one as well. That lets you set a load of debug options. Oh yeah, the reptile there. Yeah, you can fight reptile. Forgot about that. Barcode Battler. Yeah, that was hyped massively, and the idea was that it was a bit of misinformation that this I remember hearing back in the day that this had come from Japan, and that you put a barcode in and it makes a game for you, and that you never have to buy games again. This clearly isn't what it is. It's like Top Trumps, and you scan a barcode and it creates some kind of character for you, and that's all it is really. Yeah, probably nice to have just as a nostalgia thing, but they weren't very popular. So we've got Puzzlers, Puyo Puyo, which was Mean Bean Machine, Columns, Lemmings. I really should play this Krusty Super Fun House. I played a few Simpsons games and wasn't really impressed by them, and I just ignored this, but it looks like it's a puzzler game, so I'd probably enjoy it. And Blockout, I've never played that. Yeah, more adverts. Game swaps. Memory card filled up, so where were we? We were looking at this advert for Rocket Knight Adventures, and what I was really just saying was that Konami was originally a Nintendo only developer, and in a few short years they really adopted the Sega platform well. So you had games like Turtles, Sunset Riders, but now you get games like Rocket Knight Adventures, and then you get Castlevania, and Probotector and Lethal Enforcers. So there were some really nice games that came out by Konami in the end on the platform. So this is a buyer's index, and games to buy and not to buy. So this will be Mega CD. Yeah, Afterburner, not great. So they're really the good ones they're saying are Batman Returns, Echo, Final Fight, Sylpheed, Alien 3. Okay, so this is Mega Drive. I like Wolfchild. I thought that was a good game. Again, looking back now, a lot of the better games on the Mega CD were not necessarily the ones that used the hardware better. There were quite a lot of conversions that only came out on the Mega CD. They were often Amiga games, but they were still good games in their own right. Yeah. What did they give Night Striker? 17. I like that one. It's horrendously blocky, but it's got a lot of good sprite scaling. Ayrton Senna, Hellfire, Davis Cup, haven't played that. Flashback, Gunstar, Heroes, Dragon's Fury. Yeah. These are Jinogu, Echo. Yeah. Some really good games. Lemmings, Megalomania. Yeah, this is a pretty good buyer's guide actually. And a lot of the games that they're giving the Mega Award to are not terribly expensive now. They probably just sold really well, that's why they're a bit more common. Ooh, that's interesting. Terminator 2 didn't get their award. Yeah, Super Kickoff did. So it must have been a good conversion. So next month, which sadly you won't get to see because I don't have any other issues of this. It's just this issue that I got with a bundle. As I say, it wasn't a magazine that I read back in the day, and it just happened to come with this job lot of magazines that I bought last month, or month before rather. But yeah, it was quite nice to see that. Yeah, Megatech, it's, I don't know, it's a bit like Mean Machines, but I don't think it quite has the personality. I think I was right to stick with Mean Machines. But I think if you bought this back in the day and had any good memories, then please, leave a comment. I'd be interested to see. I mean, I don't really know much about this magazine other than being aware that it was there and seeing it occasionally in the newsagents, but it never really got my attention. I think I'll leave it there. As I say, I've got a bit of a cold, so thanks for watching.